If you've never been to a state park in South Carolina, I'll post some links in the description that will take you to their website. You can find their hours and pricing. This box is where you can register your planned hike. You'll put the start time and intended return time. You'll also put your vehicle tag number. You may find some pencils on the side of the box, but I can't make any promises. Hey there, hikers and wannabe hikers. This is Jonathan from Hiking in SC. Today I'm going to be doing Jones Gap to Coldspring Branch, and that loop will take you on the Bill Kimball Trail. This is supposed to be a difficult or strenuous hike, and I just want to use this hike to show you the differences in trails. So right now I am on Jones Gap Trail. So if we look this way, I'll turn you around, and here you're going to see rocks on the trail. This one here isn't very hard, but later I'll show you what Alltrails lists as hard or difficult, so you can compare different trails and their difficulty and how they rate them. So here you're going to start seeing what's known as elevation gain, and it's one of the factors that they use to determine the difficulty of a trail. So as you can see, we're not going straight up, but it's a pretty good grade. If y'all remember from last week, this is where I was at the Jones Gap Falls. Right now, this is a different trail that I'm used to taking, so I'm making sure that that trail over my shoulder is the right way to go. So I'm checking my Alltrails, and it's showing that I definitely need to go to the left, and that'll keep me going in the right direction. So right now I've been keeping about 2.9 to 2.8 miles per hour speed, right? And if you remember from last week, I was kind of taking it easy, kind of taking my time a little more to really, look at the nature and stuff like that. But this week, because I have about 9.4 miles to cover, I'm more at a search and rescue speed, so to speak. So we're going to be really hauling through this trail compared to last week. So I love this part so far. Like, look at these rocks right here, absolutely huge. Like, I'm very excited to follow the river and see a completely different view than I'm used to out on this trail. Now, to me, a very large part of whether a trail is difficult or not is your conditioning. So when I first started hiking, this trail would have been a very long and arduous trail. But over the course of a year, I've been steadily hiking all kinds of different trails, and now even running anywhere from 2 to 3 miles a day. So now this trail that would have been very strenuous is pretty much like not even making me breathe hard. So I mean, that plays into whether something is difficult or not. I would definitely recommend starting with some easier trails at the beginning and then just working up to it. And once that you've built up your level of endurance, this will be nothing. You just can't stop. You know, you've got to just have a goal in mind that you're gonna get out here and build yourself up and enjoy the outdoors. At the same time, you'll be surprised in a year where it will take you. Here is about the fourth one of these little things. It's just like a little stream. If you look in the middle, there's rocks that you can cross over on. So I don't know if that's what they're talking about when, oh look, puffball mushroom right there. I'm not sure if that's what they're talking about when they say stream crossings reported on Alltrails. Supposedly there's supposed to be 4 or 5 of those. Hopefully that is the river crossings that they're talking about, but surely not. Those are like little streams, but we shall see. So when you see this signpost right here, it's the one where over to the left you're going to see orange blazes, right? And off to the right you're going to see pink blazes. So this right here is where Coldspring branch comes together with the Bill Kimball Trail. Right now we're going to get into what hikers call the more technical part of the trail. So if it's not technical, I like to call it the cruisy area, where you just put the hammer down and just cruise along. Technical means you're going to need to navigate over rocks, roots, and anything else that's in your way. Trees maybe down, those kind of things make it more technical, and where you got to pay attention of your footing, and also snakes, trees. We don't really have to worry about snakes right now because it's kind of chilly outside. We're starting to get into fall. This is the middle of October 2019, so snakes really aren't that much of an issue. Like I was saying, this is the more technical part of the trail, and it gets even more technical when you get on the Bill Kimball, or so I've heard. But if you look at this, I'll turn it around and show you that all the way up there, is the beginning of the steep part. So we're starting to get into it. This is what's fun to me, is where you really start to slow down and really push yourself. So just wanted to let you know what it looks like on a trail like this. As you can see from the ground, it's definitely not the path most traveled. So way back on Jones Gap Trail, you could definitely tell that it had been well worn very recently. Once you get up here, you're not really going to see very many people. I haven't seen a soul so far, except for back at the parking lot, but you're definitely not going to see them on this trail because it's hard, and most people say I ain't going up that, but just thought you'd want to see what it looks like if you did. Look how gorgeous this is. This is what I love. This is not so much. If you look way up there, you're gonna see all the mountain is right up there. What that tells you is that's where you're gonna be going. So back in the day, that would be something that would strike fear into your soul, you know, when you first start out. But after you've done this like 4 million times, it's really not so bad. you just know it's 1 foot in front of the other, and you're just gonna take your time and get up there. And it's not really that bad. When you get to the top, you'll be able to experience the payoff at the end. So that's what it's all about. I'm having to take a little pit stop for 1 second. Right now I see right over here, you'll see double orange and then double blue. If I spin you around, you're gonna see single orange over there on that tree. So according to the map, if I go left, which is back behind me, the double blazes on the trees here, that's going to take me to Caesar's Head. So we're going to the right, which will put us on the Bill Kimball. So we're going to actually a little bit more of the Cold Branch, and then we're going to be on the Bill Kimball. So we're hauling through this thing. Right now it's 3.9 miles, 2.5 miles an hour still, and we're only an hour and a half into the whole thing. I planned that it would probably take about 5 hours to do this thing, but we might be doing it in less than that, so we'll see. But if you get to this little crossroads right here and you're doing the Cold Branch Trail to Bill Kimball, turn right. So as part of the designation, whether something is hard or easy or moderate, I think is the speed of the elevation gain. So if you are going 20 miles and you went up 1,800 feet, that would be very easy to do. But if you did the same 1,800 feet in 1 mile, you would pretty much be going straight up the whole time. So as you can see right here, we're going up pretty decent. I would say this is probably, you know, in the moderate to hard range. Later we're going to be entering into the hard area. Like 20 feet down the trail, I found the most huge thing of chicken in the woods. Right here's another bunch. This part right here would be young, fresh, and edible. This part right here is a little more towards the past its prime type, but if you get close to it, you can smell the smell. This is a polypore mushroom, so which means if you look under the bottom, it doesn't have gills. It does have a little bit of dots. And let me show you something. I don't know if you can see this, but let me see if I can show it to you. If you see right there, you can see the actual spores just falling down in like a little kind of a rainbow pattern. You can't see it unless you look with the sun backing it up, but you can actually see the spores coming out. Now I don't know if you can see that, but I can. I'm one of those kind of people that has like 450 million eyesight, so I can usually see things that most people would not even notice. So I just thought that was pretty darn cool to see that in real life. Alright, so here's another sign. It says 0.6 miles to US 276. So I'm sure that we have a turn to make. This here says Caesar's Head and Jones Gap State Park. Let me turn you left. That's probably where we need to go. And turn you right. This one says 2.2 miles to Jones Gap. So I'm going to check my map right quick and see which way we need to be going. So as you can see, we've reached the max elevation that we're going to do today on this trail. We're on the Bill Kimball Trail. It is a pink blaze. So you'll see a pink blaze on the trees. Seems to be pretty well marked. So now we're gonna reach the downhill. So pretty much everything from here on is gonna be, you know, relatively downhill back to Jones Gap. So even though there is gonna be some technical parts, it will be easier, quote unquote. But it's just amazing right now, seeing the sun coming through the trees, seeing a whole new trail that you've never been on before. It's just awesome. I've only seen two people, a mother and son, and it was kind of cool to see that he was carrying the backpack so his mom won't have to carry anything. That's pretty cool. But those are the only people I've seen, except for back at the parking lot. You pretty much have this trail all to yourself. I just came down right there, and then the trail goes up that rock and straight up that way. So right now this is my downhill travel. Could you imagine going up that? I definitely think this is probably the best direction to come down the Bill Kimball trail. So I don't know who this Bill Kimball character was, but he was crazy. Let me just tell you. I might have to investigate who in the world that is, because if he came down here like the first one, holy chihuahua, he must have been a nut job. So I had to take a minute to say a huge thank you to the guy that I normally hike with. He goes by Mike 21, and he pretty much taught me everything that I know out here. As an example, right here, if you look down, the leaves are pretty slick. So what you're gonna do is, when you stick your trekking pole in, what you can do is use your foot against there, and it helps you from sliding down down there. You don't want to crack your cranium when you bounce down that, right? Also, when you're going to go down an incline, you're going to put your hand on top of your trekking pole like this instead of down here underneath. It definitely helps to keep you from falling. But I just had to say, every time I come out here, I think of Mike and him spending time teaching me how to do all this, and investing in me and this sport that we do. What we like to call it is endurance hikers, because we go through here at a pretty ridiculous rate of speed. But he's really taught me a ton. Sorry about that branch right there. But he's taught me a ton about camping, wilderness survival kind of stuff, hiking. So I just owe him a huge debt of gratitude. This is just something that I never really would have considered, and now look, you know, where I'm at, and actually, you know, considering trail running, like seriously. But just I'm very grateful, and I think of people who've taught me things every time I come out here. Got to see this. So here's a sheer rock face all the way down. If you look up there, there's a mountain up there. I have no idea what it is, but come down the rock face and you can see where our trail is, right down there. The look on my face is priceless. As you can probably guess, we're no longer maintaining the 2.5 miles per hour that we were doing, but we're making it through. This is just so stinking cool. But literally, Bill was crazy. I think he was smoking the big crack rock, maybe about this big. Now this is what's meant by technical. Getting over boulders, rocks, trees, roots. You got to make your way through all of this. But that's what technical means, and that's what rates something as being strenuous or difficult to navigate. Oh, I got lost down there. So I just came right up through these rocks and stuff. As soon as I didn't see any pink blazes, that kind of let me know that I was off the beaten path, so to speak. The trail really goes here. So up here on the trees, there's like a little mountain shape. I don't know if you can see that little black thing. It looks like a shape of a mountain. And right here is a pink blaze on the tree. So now we're back on track. So if something happens and you get off the trail, it's not anything to panic about. You know, just take your time, look back on your map, see where you are in relationship to where you're supposed to be, and then yeah, it's going to be a struggle to cut your way through the underbrush or whatever, but you know, don't panic. Just take your time and get back to where you're supposed to be. No problem. So I'm about to wrap up the Bill Kimball Trail, and it has been extremely strenuous, but I'm okay with that. So I passed the two people that I passed earlier this morning, and they were heading up the Bill Kimball Trail, and I told them this is one of the hardest trails you're ever gonna go up. And I asked them, do you guys use Alltrails? And they said no, which to me is a little bit dangerous, because this is the first time I've ever gotten off trail twice, and by retracing my steps I was able to get back to where I was going and get back on trail. Especially on the Bill Kimball Trail, that's not one that you want to be going off. I also saw two other people. They were going up the same trail, and they had no water, no backpacks, nothing with them. So let me just say this, for safety, you need to watch my 14 things that you need to have when you go backpacking video, because it's a matter of safety. You can meet your demise, so to speak, if you don't have the right stuff out here. Minimum, you need water and food, and I would recommend some way to know where the heck you are, because you do not want to mess around on this trail. It could be dangerous or detrimental to your life. So I would highly recommend that you have Alltrails. Both of the people heading up this trail asked how strenuous it was, and so that means they didn't know ahead of time how hard it was going to be. Well, I mean, I'm about one of the craziest people you ever meet, but I'm not that crazy. You know what I mean? Like, at least I know where the heck I'm going and how hard it's going to be to go down that trail. So right now I'm back on the moderate part of the trail, Jones Gap Trail. So as a recap, easy trails have less elevation gain, less rocks to go over. As you can see right here, there's rocks everywhere, but they're not the type that you would have to climb up, like boulders and, you know, rock faces. Hard trails are the ones that have the rock faces and huge boulders that you're trying to climb and over and between. Also, super steep elevation gain. And that was Bill Kimball. So that is some of what I had to go through today. Easy is just almost flat. Very little rocks, very few things that you have to maneuver over. But that's kind of how Alltrails breaks the trails down. Those are the three categories that they have. Now, some of the hiking groups that I belong to, they have a broader range. So they break it down as strenuous, very super strenuous, and then skull and crossbones. Just kidding. But you know what I'm saying. The hard trails on Alltrails, like I say, are the ones that you look at and you're like, what lunatic would go up that? Some freak of nature made a trail up that? Yeah, well, that's the ones that I like to do, unfortunately. But like I said before, you always need to make sure you know where you're going and the terrain that you're going to encounter, so that you can be fully prepared. You do not want to be out here when it's raining or snowing or at night without any cover. It would definitely not be a good place to be. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm getting down here towards the end of the trail, and I'm like the world's worst at reporting the beginning of the trail and nothing much at the end. So we'll try to change that up a little bit. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me today, coming down this trail and learning about how Alltrails classifies different trails. And like I always say, if you're addicted to hiking like I am, please subscribe and also take a minute to explore my channel. I'm going to put 2 videos up here on the right hand side for you to check out. They will give you lots of information, tips and tricks for hiking in this amazing state of ours, which is South Carolina. Now, get out there and hike.